What is going on, guys? It's RealTutsGML here, back with another Game Maker tutorial, and today is part 2 in our inventory series. And today what we're going to be looking at is kind of making the inventory scripts a lot neater in being able to add objects into our game with ease, right? So to do that, we're going to make a ton of different scripts that basically do exactly what this does here, our manage objects script. Let me just bring that down a little bit. So it's basically going to do exactly what this is doing here, except make it so much neater and able to add in objects a lot easier. Because here's the thing: if we went ahead and I have a stone sprite here, I'm going to go ahead and create this stone. So I'm going to duplicate it, obj_stone, and put that in there. And I'm going to put the name to stone. And I go into my room here, and I will just place a bunch of these around the place. There we go. It's going to be sort of tedious to put these in. So here I can do global.stone equals 0 because we have 0 of it. And in the manage objects, here what I'm going to have to do is copy this and say else if global.slot_i equals stone, SBR stone, and global.stone. There you go. And then I'm going to have to go down here, copy this again, else, put that into stone, SBR_stone, and then with our object release, copy it again, else, SBR_stone. And you can see how this can get really tedious if you have more than a couple objects in the game, right? If you're having a game that has hundreds of different objects, this is not going to be a good way to do this at all. So we'll go down here, else, stone, and alright. So if we go ahead and save it and run it, technically we should have just added our stone object into the game if nothing screwed up. Let's go ahead and take a look. Alright, so I will, oh, we didn't make a collision with the stone, did we? Collision with stone, and there you go. Alright, we'll try it again. Alright, so we pick up the stone and we have the stone there, and it doesn't actually add though. So in our add list script, of course, if toName equals stone, global.stone++. Now this is sort of it's not a very efficient system what we're doing, because when we start splitting objects up and being able to see, there we go. So now we have that, and we can't actually move the stone. See a bunch of problems here. See a bunch of problems actually adding into the game here. And again, if you had a little bit more than a couple objects in the game, it could get really hard to read the script. Oh, and I think I know what I did here. If we take that out, put else right here, I think that will work. Let's go ahead and try that. Alright, and now we can click and drag it and move these objects into the different spaces, right? So let's go ahead and clear that up. And as you can see, you can't put an object into a space that is already filled, which is pretty cool. Alright, so yeah, let's go ahead and clear that up. So what I'm going to do here is take this out, and for this I'm going to create a totally different script for that. So I'm going to go ahead and create the script, and I'm going to call it draw_inv sprite. And here I'm going to say draw_inv sprite. And the arguments here, we're going to need a variable I, and this is going to equal argument 0. A variable item ID, and this is going to equal argument 1. And a variable sprite, and this is going to equal argument 2. So we can just put that up there. So I, item ID, and sprite. Just make it easier on ourselves. Right? So if we go to manage objects here, basically what we're doing is just drawing the sprite into, this is what this is. We're just drawing our sprite into that slot. So if I take basically what this code is, and I go into draw in sprite here, and I say if global.slot I equals item ID, then draw sprite 0 chord x I plus 8 and chord y I plus 8. And that right there is just taking exactly what we're doing. If global.slot I, which it's doing right here, equals item ID, which in our script arguments here we're going to put in wood, then just draw the sprite of which our third argument is into that space there. And then we could also just take this, and bring it right into here. Draw set color. And here we're just going to have to put it in one more argument actually, which we're going to say item amount. This equals argument 3. Put that in there. Item amount. And in here we're going to say item amount. So we can draw that. So then in our manage objects, instead of putting this here, all we have to do is say draw in sprite, and here we are going to say I wood SBR underscore wood and global dot wood, and that's it. So if we copy this and we paste it again, instead stone SBR underscore stone and global dot stone. Same thing. So if we run the game, it should still be able to use the stone and the wood inside of our game. So here we have that. We can still drag it around, and it's the same thing. So now instead of going through that and making it all confusing, we can now easily add more and more objects just going down the list here. So let's go for let's do the released, or I'm sorry, this is transferring objects, right? So to do this, again, it's pretty simple. We're just taking the arguments we have here and putting it into a script. So here I'm going to create a script. I'm going to call it click slot, and here I'm going to make it a little neat. And it's going to be I, our item ID, and our sprite. So here, var I equals argument 0, our variable item ID equals argument 1, and our variable sprite equals argument 2. Alright, and we're just going to take this and we're going to say if global.slot I does not equal no one, then we're going to say if global.slot I equals item ID, then slot taken equals I, and SBR or sprite, or no, SBR equals sprite, right? There we go, that's it. So that is our click slot. So now, instead of doing this, we just And actually we can take that out completely too. We just say click slot I wood and SBR underscore wood. We copy that and we paste it down again and we just say stone. Let's go and run the game, make sure everything still runs smoothly. So there we go, everything still runs perfectly and we can drag our objects anywhere we like. Alright, and then this is pretty simple, we don't really have to do anything with that. Now the release slot, which is this right here, again pretty simple. I'm going to go ahead and create a script. I'm going to call it release slot. And here I'm going to create a var temp SBR equals SBR, var sprite equals argument 1, and var object equals argument 2. So we're just taking that temp SBR and making it our main sprite, which is just essentially just so we don't change, because we're going to change what this value of temp SBR is. So we don't want to change what it actually is. So we're just making a duplicate of it. So we'll just say if temp SBR equals sprite, then we're going to just create a for loop, j equals 0, or j equals 0, j is less than global dot you know, let's actually make this, let's make one more amount equals argument 3. If j is less than amount j plus plus. And we're just going to instance create at our obj underscore player dot x plus 32 obj underscore player dot y, and then our object. And where did that go? There it is. And then global.slot from slot taken equals no one. And SBR equals no sprite. Alright, so if we take that and we put it right here and we say release slot SBR underscore stone, and then our item, which would be obj underscore, or let's do the wood first, obj wood, and then the amount, which is global.wood. Copy that and paste it down for SBR stone, obj stone, and global.stone. So again, making this global.wood and global.stone functions, we're actually going to change in the next video I make, which is how to transfer items like into each other, split items up, and all that stuff, which is pretty cool. All right. And then we have the transfer items. So I'm going to create one more script, call it transfer item. And here, again, create our I equals argument 0, item ID equals argument 1, and our sprite equals argument 2. Okay, and then I'm going to say var temp SBR equals SBR, and if temp SBR equals our sprite, global.slot I equals item ID, global.slot slot taken equals no one, and SBR equals no sprite. So again, pretty simple. So I'll just take this and just put in here transfer item, and here you just say I would and SBR would. Copy that, paste it down, stone, SBR underscore stone, and there we go. So we'll go ahead and run it. Hopefully it all works. Oh, and we're actually getting an error. And that is because, silly me, I put argument 1 instead of argument 0. Yes, the arguments start at 0, just if you weren't aware. Alright, let's try that one more time. So we pick everything up, and we can transfer everything, and all looks to be working. So then we can take this and throw it out. And actually, hold on a second. I may have found a glitch here. You can double what you had, which is because when we release the slot, we are not putting our amount back to 0. So we could say amount equals 0. Let's try that again. See, we fixed the glitch. So I'll go ahead and... Oh, I actually did not fix the glitch. Interesting. So the reason that didn't work is because we're taking our amount here as a local variable, not the global variable that we were actually using. So what we can do to actually change this is when we initialize our starting values here, instead of saying global.would, if we say global.item 0 and global.item 1, and we equal these to both 0, and instead of calling it global.would, we just put it into an array, then what we can do is in our manage objects, instead of global.would, we say global.item 0, global.item 1, and in our release slot, which we have right here, instead of global.would, we just say 0 and 1. So inside of our release slot, we could say if j is less than item, and then we say amount, which would actually be the ID, which I'll just say IDD, and then we say this would be global.item, global.item IDD equals 0. So now let's try it. Oh, and we're getting an error now, which is the, okay, I got it. Which is just because we changed up those values there. So instead of add to imb, add list, instead of if toName equals would, we just say global.item 0 and global.item 1 plus plus. Run it again. And there we go. So everything is the same, but if we take it out and we bring it back in, it no longer duplicates. All right, cool. So again, this system is a tad inefficient. We're going to, in the next tutorial for this, if you guys want another one, I'm going to work on where you can right click and split up the inventory, where you can transfer items. So if you had like a group of 6 and a group of 6 stones here, you could take this and put it into that one to make it 12. And you can't do that with other items. I can even go as far if you want as making like an equip option here, and we can put like a sword or something on our character, and the sword has a health. So even if you take it and you plop it down somewhere and pick it back up, it still retains its same health. And all that stuff. So if you guys want it, let me know in the comment section, and I will be taking a look at what you guys have to say. So I hope you learned something. I hope it's a lot easier. You know what? before we go ahead and go, let's just add one more item to the game just to show a comparison on how easy it is now to add another item into the game. So let's go ahead and add SPR berry. Whoop. And we paste it down. I have just like a berry sprite here. You take that. And we have an object, so I'll just duplicate it. obj underscore berry. And name equals berry, we'll say. And duplicate the collision. So collision with a berry. And there you go. Let me add it into the game here. So we'll add a bunch of these guys. So all I have to do is go to our starting values. Global.item2 equals 0. That's now our berry. And in our manage objects, copy this, paste it down, say berry, SBR berry, and global.item2. I'll copy our click slot. Just change that to berry, SBR underscore berry. I'm saying berry a lot, it's a weird word. Copy that, SBR underscore berry, obj underscore berry, and one more, berry, SBR underscore berry. So that should really be it. Let's go ahead and run the game. So, and add list, forgot one thing. Just gotta copy this and just add it to the list. So, there we go. Now let's run it. So now look at that. So now we have 3 items in the game. I can move it around, I can do whatever I want with it. I can throw it down. Still comes up, and all of that. Alright, so there we go. So go and like, go and subscribe. Let me see real quick. If I throw that down, 13. Something's going wrong here. Did I not switch something over? Oh, right here. I need to change that to A2. Alright, cool. So that's going to be it. Go leave a like, go ahead and subscribe. I'm curious to see what you guys have to say. If you want another one of this, then I will be glad to do that. So let's go and throw that down, and it looks like it works. Cool. If I throw all the objects down, pick them up, there we go. Cool. Alright, so I will see you guys next time. Peace.